morning, everyone. Inyouth' 4th edition, Beyond What's Believed, brings you all a plethora of great leaders to rejuvenate your minds with their experiences from whom you can learn the ifs and buts of life. We are privileged to have one such leader amidst us, Mr. Munaf Kapadia, Chief Eating Officer, the Bohri Kitchen, who also made it to Forbes 30 under 30. His friends call him the guy who quit Google to sell samosas, which gives us the name for our session today, Google versus Samosas. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
We also welcome Ms. Sahabia Rajkodawala. I'd like to begin by asking that you believe entrepreneurship is a journey, not a destination. It requires constant effort, vigilance, and re-evaluation. Why is that?
Hey guys, how are you? Right, so first of all, Raj, dude, you should have gone after me. Okay, that was completely unfair, but it's okay. So why do I think entrepreneurship is a journey, not a destination? I think somewhere all of us, I mean especially me, before I even started this little journey of mine, for me an entrepreneur was Mark Zuckerberg. It was Larry Page, it was Bill Gates. And just in the way in which these personalities are now marketed to us, all of us want to be entrepreneurs, feel that that is what we need to be. That is success, that is an idea of success. And if you can't be that guy or that girl, then you're not a successful entrepreneur. But that's actually not the case. The minute you aspire for that kind of success, you kind of, I mean, that's a 0.1% or a 0.01% chance of success. You're setting yourself up for failure and disappointment. But instead, if you start looking at entrepreneurship as a journey, you start looking at it as what Raj went through in the last 7 years. Like every single step, every single moment, whether he made a lot of money or not, was success in its own right. For me, in the last 5 years, every single failure I've had, I feel I've learned more from that than from the point in time when I came on the cover of Forbes magazine. So the minute you start looking at entrepreneurship as a journey, where you're genuinely excited about selling your first dishwashing liquid bottle or your first, samosa in that case, you will suddenly start enjoying and looking forward to it, and you'll find it a lot less overwhelming as something to aspire for.
I agree. Before we talk about your initiatives, we would want to know how you were as a student in your school or college life. What were the early days of a creative mind like yours?
Well, for starters, I completely lack creativity. Early days, school, I think I was probably a below average student. I didn't do too well, unfortunately. I have never been on an honors stage in my life. I still fantasize sometimes, what is it like? And so do my parents, I think. In fact, I used to have a severe communication issue where I couldn't speak well. In fact, I was telling you yesterday evening that in school it was so serious that I would find it difficult to pronounce "excuse me." I had some sort of weird phobia in my head. So when I would enter a classroom, I would be too scared to say that because everyone would laugh at me. So I would use all kinds of non-verbal gestures to get the teacher's attention so she would let me inside. And even in something as simple as that, there was this opportunity to kind of focus on yourself and to constantly want to, constantly want to show everyone else who was laughing at me that, hey, listen, I'm so much more. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why I did BMS, which is the equivalent of BBA back in Bombay, because of the focus on presentations and on, actually interacting in the classroom and doing things like that. And somewhere that helped me with my communication skills. So that's one aspect of my childhood, if that helps in any way.
One thing I remember you were telling me yesterday about getting a post in the student council as a creative head. What was the story about that?
It was like a Bollywood film. So I eventually did my MBA at a college called NMIMS in Bombay, Narsi Monji. Now NMIMS is like this beautiful factory that produces MBA students. Okay, of 300 to 500 to maybe, 1,000 students now. I have no idea. But, so in the MBA college, there was a student council, like you guys have a student council here. And literally the only function the student council served in that college was to organize a festival that happened every year. And I found that deeply frustrating because as a in the first year, they would expect you to participate in the organization of the festival, and if you do a good job and if you suck up to the seniors well enough, then in the second year you get into the student council. And I absolutely despise the college festival. I absolutely despise all the time and effort that went into 100 different things. And I'm like, there is so much potential in this college to actually improve the lives of students. There's so much we can do. For example, something as simple as installing a cycle stand, okay, which did not exist at that time. And the student council should be aspiring to actually make those kind of things happen. After all, you're the student council and you're not the college festival council. So I basically became very hated very quickly in my college. And I literally took that to its zenith when being the least favored candidate to have anything to do with the student council, I went to the faculty that was setting up the council, and I went and I told them, listen, I'm going to improve the lives of all the students. These are 3 ideas, and I presented some really cool ideas. And they were like, Munaf, no one's ever come and told us any of these things. Everyone always gives us suggestions on the festival. So we don't actually have a position for you in the student council, so we create a position called the creative head. And my entire second year in my MBA was spent dealing with the politics of being in a council where I actually wasn't welcome. And still trying to get my way out of it and trying to get something out.
What was one of the ideas that you pitched in? Maybe the second years will get something from it for the student council.
Oh, sure. I'm sure you guys are 10 times smarter than I was at that point in time, so I'll be surprised if this adds value. One such idea was this thing called the events tracker. So right at that point in time, this is in 2009, I was enamored by Google and what Google offered. So Google spreadsheets, I don't know if you guys use that. I just found it immensely useful, the idea of a crowdsourced, cloud platform that allows you to maintain Excel sheets and share it with collaborators. One of the biggest problems I faced as a student, and my peers did in the MBA ecosystem was, well, we always wanted to do something outside the classroom, right? Everyone's CV was literally a commoditized black and white piece of paper that looked the same. The only way to differentiate yourself is by saying that I did this festival, I did this project, I did this corporate project, XYZ. So everyone was constantly aspiring to do these things, but no one had any idea what was available out there. We would get that occasional email from the council saying, hey, listen, this college festival just came up, this project just came up, but it kind of gets lost in the entire mumbo jumbo of what you go through on a daily basis. So I created a Google spreadsheet called the events tracker, where I got a small group of juniors to kind of update it. And we would coordinate with different point of contacts across the MBA ecosystem across India to actually keep on filling that with the latest projects and the latest internship opportunities and the latest festivals. The idea being that everyone at the click of their finger should have access to everything that's happening across the ecosystem of the MBA world. And stuff like that. Like there was this one random thing I did where, very similar to what you guys are doing out here. I wanted to create a platform for students to express themselves. A TedX-like platform, but on a monthly basis. So we called it the student platform, where people could just come and actually show their peers that they're so much more than the blazer and the shirt that everyone is in that college, and stuff like that.
As we know that you worked with Google, which is a dream for many still, is there any story or experience that you'd like to share that will motivate our audience to learn from mistakes?
Absolutely. And I'm really impressed by how you're reading these questions to
I'm really sorry, I don't have them memorized.
No, they're really...
There are a lot of them after 1.5-hour conversation yesterday. I'm sure we cannot cover all of them, but I'm trying my best.
Rashi is doing a fantastic job. So actually everyone clap for her.
Thank you so
much. So a cool example that might kind of drive the point home that you can learn from your mistakes. Okay, so I'm doing my MBA. I'm this weird guy who's in the student council and no one wants him there. I'm trying to do these initiatives which no one really, could care for. Everyone wanted to just create a festival, and throughout all of this, I'm trying to figure out what do I want to do in life, right? The only one thing I knew is I hated finance. I absolutely despise accounting. I despise balance sheets. I did not enjoy P&Ls and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, I'll do something in marketing, but what do you do in marketing? Do you do advertising? Do you get into an FMCG company? Do you become a management trainee? Do you do branding? It's really funny. You spend 2 years of your life learning anything and everything about marketing, but at the end of the 2 years, if you ask any MBA student, what are the career choices you have, they actually don't have too many answers to that for some strange reason. And I was that guy myself. But we had this sort of fantasy job that as a marketing student you should get into an FMCG company as a management trainee, and then that is sort of your path to marketing career success, and that's what happened for me. So I did not get into Google initially. I got into a chewing gum selling company called Wrigley's. You guys might have heard of that. And it was the dream job. Okay, Wrigley's management trainee, phenomenal money at that point in my life. And they sent me to rural Mysore to sell gum to guys in lungis. And guys, it was like the most exciting experience ever. And for me at that point in time, I'm like, this is my opportunity to become an adult. Where I'll leave my house, I'll be independent, I'll stay by myself, and I'll have to go in rural Mysore and sell gum. And 3 months later, that's exactly what happened. I realized that selling gum wasn't something that motivated the deepest, the part of my heart, So somewhere along that time, I got this opportunity to apply for a job at Google, which was exactly what everyone keeps on saying it is. It's that dream, it's that fantasy to get into Google, the world's #1 place to work at. And I applied for a job, everything happened. And you would think that, hey, that's really cool, except that they gave me a 50% pay cut. So very early on in my career, I've done what many people define as the single best way to destroy your career. My first 3 months in the corporate sort of field, I've taken a pay cut and I've joined another company. But I'm like, it's fine, I'm getting into Google, I'll change the world. I go to Google, and 3 months later, I have my first appraisal, and they're like, Munaf, we're really sorry to tell you this, but you suck at your job. You're spending all your time sending emails to Larry Page and Sergey Brin telling them how you want to change the world, how you want to make changes in Google Maps, and how you have this idea for Android. But the actual job that we've hired you for, which is to optimize advertising accounts for clients internationally, you're not very good at that job. So you better roll up your socks and stop doing these other things which you're actually excited about, because yes, we are Google and we are the best place to work at and we'll give you this ecosystem, but first get your core job right. And that was one of the most powerful lessons I learned very early on in my life. That if you're going to do the things that you're really excited about, first you need to do your bread and butter really well as well. Otherwise you don't really get that opportunity. And I took that lesson, I took that learning, and I learned the game, and within a year, I learned from my mistakes, and I started focusing on my core job. I got my Excel sheets really right. I made sure I didn't make mistakes out there. That's simplifying the job I had. And within a year, I managed to turn it around, and I was transferred to Bombay. So my job was in Hyderabad when I was at Google. I got a client-facing role in Bombay. And my last 3 years in Bombay were when I really flourished within the company, and that kind of self-confidence that I built eventually led to the Bohri Kitchen.
So guys, you do see that you need to learn and you need to keep all your mistakes in stride and keep learning from them.